Hello, everybody. Welcome to Townsend 909, or welcome back if you're a lovely subscriber. Uh, today, uh, Mick Fleetwood, or Garrett from Sound Lab Studios, John McVie, John from John McVie's Music Showcase, or uh, Bryer from Breyer's Music Showcase, and me, Peter Green, or Peter Green 909, or Townsend Nick from Townsend 909. Today we're going to be reviewing the third Fleetwood Mac album, Then Play On, and this is going to be the UK album from 1969, the UK version with all 14 tracks on it. But since we all love Oh Well, and Garrett also had the idea of putting this other song, we're including Oh Well and the Green Monalishi, those two songs at the end. Talk about
With
those.
the two.
And yep, two with a two frog crown. Yep, can't. Yep. But okay. So either Garrett or Bryer wants to give out the music history lesson here.
Right. So I definitely did the research, but I know Garrett has something he wants to share. So I think I'll let him tell that part. But so here's what I found. So of course, like Nick mentioned, this came out in September of 1969. This was actually their first album on their because they swapped labels. So now this is the first album on Reprise or Reprise Records, which they would kind of stick with until I believe until once they got to Rumors, they swapped to Warner Brothers. So a couple big notable things happened. So they decided to include a new member into the band, and that member would be Danny Kerwin, who was pretty young at the time. I forgot how old he was, but I know he was pretty young. But this is the first album he's featured on. But of course, sadly, this is the last album to have Peter Green in the band as well before he would kind of leave. But what's interesting about this album is that, of course, Danny Kerwin was very involved into the recording, and that was mainly because Peter Green was from what I've gathered, Peter Green was very lenient in terms of leadership. So he would he was very open to whatever ideas anybody had. But probably will explain why Jeremy Spencer was so big in the previous two, because again, Peter Green kind of encouraged him. But he did the same thing with Danny, and Danny took full advantage of that for a good effect. Of course, produced by the band themselves, this one produced a lot more editing, a lot more overdubbing. Even they used this time to do more experimental improvised jam sessions. But because of all these new changes, Jeremy Spencer was kind of like, I'm not really digging any of this. So even though Jeremy is still a member, he's not really on the album. He doesn't really play really anything on the actual album. I know he played on one of the songs that we're going to talk about way later, but very minor stuff. But probably the weirdest thing I found when researching this is the fact that I think Jeremy thought about leaving at this point, but Peter was like, no, don't leave. And one of the things he said to convince him to stay is that once we're done with this, we'll do something together, you and me. And one of the ideas they had was doing like an EP or a concept album about Jesus. So
You could
I don't
have
know.
Jesus Christ Superstar in
Yeah,
1970 with Fleetwood Mac.
exactly.
Just think about
So
it.
right, yeah. So that was kind of one of the things. That was kind of weird. But of course, Jeremy Spencer would make a solo album the year after. So, and it wasn't about Jesus for some reason. So that's kind of disappointing there. But of course, this album did pretty well. This got to number 6 in the UK charts. So very successful. Of course, the album cover, it was actually taken from a mural painting. It was done by Maxwell Armfield, and it was originally featured in an old 1917 magazine called The Countryside, which was kind of nice. And of course, the title of the album, Then Play On, comes from the Shakespeare play Twelfth Night, which was I believe it was the opening line. So
If music be the language of love, then play on.
Yes, exactly.
I think that's the line. I don't know. My mom.
Yeah, maybe something like that.
Something like that. So what I wanted to share is something really funny about Jeremy Spencer. So the original idea for this album, since Jeremy Spencer wasn't having any of what Danny Kerwin was doing, was that Peter Green and Jeremy Spencer would write all of the songs on the album, but Jeremy Spencer would get his own bonus EP included with the album that was all Jeremy Spencer.
Yeah.
And it was a comedy EP called The Milton Schlitz Show. And I listened to part of it, and I'm glad they didn't include it because it's just Jeremy Spencer going, "Hi, I'm Milton Schlitz, and I represent Schlitz Beer, and we're here with who are we here with today? We are here straight off the tail of their new Blues Breakers album, John Mayall, and John Mayall is going to play a song for us. Let's go, John Mayall." "Oh, I'm John Mayall, and I'm singing a song for you. I'm John Mayall, I'm singing it for you." It's like stuff like that, like where he's imitating other famous artists like blues artists at the time, and like putting on like a fake variety show. And it is so weird. It is so bad. The only good part of it is I skimmed through, and there's a song called Mr. Jones on the EP. It's not a cover of the Bob Dylan song, but it's called Mr. Jones, and it oddly enough would have fit well on the Then Play On album as a Jeremy Spencer song. But it's the only good thing on that EP. Everything else is just comedy stuff that Jeremy Spencer doing his same blues stuff, but adding comedy to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he should have been a Birds member. He could have put he would have been great for putting last tracks on the other albums. But yeah, that's funny. You ready to review it? First track on the album. Okay, first track on the first album. I mean, on the third album. Yeah, my brain's still fried from yesterday. Coming Your Way.
Who wants to go first?
I guess I'll go first. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
You go first.
Yeah. Doesn't matter?
No, it doesn't matter.
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. I guess I think Bryer started the first album, and then I think Garrett started the second album. So I guess we could go into rotation. Coming Your Way, first track. Oh my God, this is what I had to say about it. Amazing way to open up the album. Starts with your typical blues riff, but right away it becomes experimental and very interesting. This is definitely the best album track they've made up until now. I mean, before then it was Shake Your Moneymaker, but was the strongest thing they made. But it's not even close to topping anything that's off this album. And yeah, this fun album. Yeah, fantastic opener for a fantastic album.
Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, right off the bat, like you hear it and it's like vastly different from the previous two albums. It's like, again, like Nick said, there's still a bit of that bluesy there, but again, they're really starting to experiment a bit more. This was written by Danny Kerwin, and he's on lead vocals here. And pretty cool, very interesting vibe and the atmosphere that goes on. Again, Peter, just more of that melodic guitar playing that I enjoyed from. That was like the only highlights of the previous two, was that every so often you hear some melodic playing. And throughout this whole album, that's definitely in the forefront now, which is great. Love the percussion to it. Again, the percussion on here, just very interesting rhythm, and just kind of stays there. But then it kind of switches up towards the end. Like the whole rhythm changes, and it's just like a very cool way to close out the song. So yeah, right off the bat, very strong opening song.
I think it's interesting that they're going to open their next album with the New Guys song. It's like almost like an introduction of here's what we're going to sound like now. And I really like his voice. Much stronger singer and songwriter than Jeremy Spencer. I like the drums on this song, especially and more great guitar playing here from both Peter and Danny. Like they're both good guitar players, and we're going to talk more about that on some of the other songs, how they kind of trade off guitar licks. But a very promising opening after the first two albums.
I will say this for you, Peter Green fans. This is going to be a good fresh of breath air from you guys, because we're actually complimenting albums now. This album now. last year we weren't holding back on the
I
first two
think this
albums.
is what people are referring to when they say they like the Peter Green era.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Maybe they are talking about. But this is much better,
Yeah.
much better.
I saw a comment on the first album, Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac. It was like, this is the real Fleetwood Mac. And I'm like, oh man. No, I'm not going to go into that. Next track on the album, Closing My Eyes. What I have to say about it, very beautiful follow up to the first track. This song and many others on this album show Peter Green doing what he should have done on the previous two albums, but wasn't because of holdbacks. Look at you, Bless My Broom guy. Uh, but yeah, what a beautiful track. Very slow, melodic. I love it. Really great.
Yeah, yeah. This is definitely another Peter Green song, and yeah, definitely it's a lot slower than the previous song. It's not really not much, too much goes on to it. It's very kind of it's mainly acoustic guitars and in it, and but yeah, again, much very cool, very interesting atmosphere, very haunting sounding in a bit, and it's very spacey. And I think because of that, I think the lyrics got a chance to shine a bit more, and of course, what I got from the lyrics definitely feels like that whoever this character he's singing lost a lover or whoever, and they're kind of mourning over it. Especially the line "Someday I'll die, and maybe then I'll be with you." Like, wow, I heard that line. I was like, whoa, that's pretty. That's pretty. That got me a little bit. So that was kind of touching. But yeah, slow song, but very very nice. I really enjoyed that one.
I really like this song. I think this is my favorite Peter Green song on the album, actually.
Mm,
But
yeah.
just the guitar playing mixed with the kind of the step back approach on it, like it's kind of a less is more kind of thing on this song.
Hmm.
And I love how it goes straight from Coming Your Way into this song. They just like bleed seamlessly into each other. It's just a fantastic song, and this is the side of Peter Green that I like. Like it's much better than the straightforward blues. Like I wish we had gotten a second album with this particular lineup of Fleetwood Mac before Peter Green left the band. But sadly, this is the only one. So I'll just enjoy the one we got.
Yeah, it wasn't because yeah he had like a lot of issues to Peter Green after this album, and yeah, sadly he had to leave. Like it's so sad. I agree. I said in the group chat it would have been so cool to have like two or three more albums of this because I feel like that they were at their musical peak on this album. But I'm not to say like oh this is it goes way downhill from here, but in my humble opinion, I think this is them at their peak, in my opinion.
At least they got Bob Welsh on not the next album, but the album after that, and he's kind of what the band needed after that. Even if they didn't achieve the commercial success that they should have gotten, like listening to the Bob Welsh albums, like he's kind of what the band
Fair trees and all that. Yeah. I honestly though, even though the Welch albums are my favorite, I still think like the Welch period is my favorite period. But yeah, this to me is them at their peak. Uh, Fighting for Madge. I didn't have a whole lot to write about this. I said great instrumental shows them showing off their ability to play, and it's killer to see them do this. Just them playing just great music instead of them just repeating the same riff over and over.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. This is like you said, instrumental, and I've already said in the past that I'm not a fan of instrumental tracks on vocal albums, but this is definitely. I mean, this is far superior than the other instrumentals on the last album, um, but yeah, this is the playing on here is very good. This is part of their like improvised jam session that they were doing, and this particular song will kind of almost return a little bit later, but yeah, it's just great playing all around. Great bass playing by John McVie on this one. I think that the whole band really gets to really uh, elevate a bit more. It's a bit heavier than a lot of the previous songs. Drums are just going all go all around. I liked how it started out slow, but then once it picks up, it goes in this very fast tempo, and again, great guitar playing in this one. So yeah, this was cool.
I really like the instrumental songs on this album. It's good to get to hear him jam for a while and just just kind of go at it musically. Just hear him jamming for a while, especially after hearing the first two albums where it's like it's just a straightforward blues, but to finally get to hear their musicianship on display on this album, these particular instrumental songs is really great. I will go ahead and note that my record, this is the revised track list that I have, and so it's kind of interesting talking about this song at this point, because when I play my record, it has the two Madge songs back to back, which I think kind of makes more sense.
Yeah.
Especially since at the end of this song on my record, it adds Peter Green's laughing, which goes right into like crying. It's the end of the album. I'm going to say this probably several times, but I prefer the track listing on my record here, just because A, I think it logically makes more sense, and B, even though the 4 songs that are on the UK one that I'm missing out on here are not there, it trades it for one of my favorite Fleetwood Mac songs. Also, there's a compilation called English Rose, which has 2 of the songs from the UK one on here, so you can get those there. But great jamming, and I'm excited to talk about the other Madge song because I've really got a lot more to say on that one.
Yeah, even though I prefer the UK version, I can see where you're coming from. I said this too before. I want to own both versions. Gary was nice enough to give me the US version. But yeah, I want both versions because I want the one with OL in the mix of amazing deep cuts, but at the same time, I want the one with all 14 songs on it. Next song on the album, I have quite a bit to say about this one. Showbiz Blues. I love this song so much. Vocals by Peter. My favorites on this album. Kind of reminds me of the Love.
Who's making movies of themselves? Anyway, that's Steely Dan.
Oh, that song's abysmal. Kind of reminds me of a Love and Spoonful. Thing that bothers me on this. The thing that I hate about this album is that we hear Peter Green at his best, then that's it. He's a band, and then you never hear from him again. Besides the one track off Penguin, which is Night Watch, which that song's also amazing. But yeah, that's the one thing that bothers me about this album is that that this is the last album Peter Green's fully on, and this is him at his best. It sucks that Peter Green was so held back on the first 2 albums, but then like when he's not held back by crappy Dust My Broom guy, it's the last album with him. It bothers me. It really does.
This particular song is the closest to the first 2 albums, but it sounds like the natural progression from the last 2 albums. Like it's the blues, but it's much better than the blues they were doing on the first 2 albums.
Mm-hmm. Quick question: which song came first, Showbiz Kids or When You Say?
This one.
Okay, because I think my track listing, it has When You Say first and then Showbiz Kids, Showbiz Blues.
There are so many different versions of this album. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyhow, I'll talk about Showbiz Blues right now. So, yeah, really good song. Another song that was a nice standout. Again, lots of great changes in this one. And you can really enjoy the tambourine and hand claps in this one. I think that was a nice little touch there. It's simple, but a very fun song with more great guitar playing from the bands, from Green and Kerwin. So, yeah, this was another fun one.
Yeah, I just realized I did mess up. I was so excited to talk about Showbiz Blues, I skipped When You Say. Sorry, guys. Well, let's talk about when. I don't have much to say about it. I just said it's a nice song after the instrumental. It's probably towards the bottom of my songs list, but yeah. What do you guys got to say about When You Say? I'm sorry. I was really wanted to talk about Showbiz Blues.
No, you're good. You're good.
Least favorite song on the album. It's more than a fair trade to get Oh Well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's my least favorite song too. Yeah,
it's not on this one. And it's not on English Rose either.
Yeah.
I think it's a nice song. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, it's not
good.
bad. It's simple. It's an acoustic
I mean,
track, so
it's better than anything off the first two albums.
oh yeah, definitely.
But that honestly at that point it's not even a fair battle for that. But still, yeah. Now you can see why I kind of like why my brain sort of skipped over it with the notes. Uh, Next song, track six, Underway. I think nice and easy going instrumental. Not one of my favorites. Probably one of my least favorites. Like probably my least favorite instrumental and one of my least favorites off the album. But it's definitely worth a listen. Of course, I can't go not mentioning without the guitar playing throughout this song and throughout the album. The guitar playing is just top notch.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I agree. This is a song that's kind of near the bottom, but again, still very good playing on here. Again, bass playing once again is a standout. Again, the guitar playing. And I also really like Mick Fleetwood's drumming. I think starting with this album, I think he really started to expand his range around the kit, which is definitely nice to hear. Because I do think he's he's a pretty underrated drummer. I think, especially as we go through, he definitely has some great standout drum parts. But yeah, it's just a very chill vibe. Not too wrong with that, so I like it.
I'm probably the biggest fan out of this song, out of the three of us. I really like this instrumental. It's easygoing, and it kind of reminds me of Albatross, just a little bit. That's really all I have to say about it, but I actually really like it. It's not near the bottom, I don't think, but I wouldn't say it's one of my favorites either, though.
I will say there is one particular instrumental that's sort of easy going that reminds me of Albatross. It's like towards the end of the album, but I'll get into that. Side one ends out on One Sunny Day, and wow, such an amazing way to close out the first side of the album. I said bloody brilliant. I can't see why the US released it on. I can see why they released it on English radios before then play on, but to me, it's definitely missed on the US then played on. Amazing vocals by Danny, and the writing is superb. Why? Why is this the first album with him? They should have met him before their debut. I know we say that a lot, but this album is just proof of it. I'm like, why is this the first album with Danny Kerwin? Why, why wasn't he on the first two? Man.
Okay, so of all of the songs that aren't on the US then play on here, it's on English Rose, but this is my favorite of the four, and the only one I kind of miss because it's really good. I really like just like his laid back vocals and just kind of the feel and the vibe of honestly just the whole album even. But this song just kind of puts you in a happy mood with the sunny day.
Yeah, this was a song that I think when I first heard this song, I was like, "Oh, it's okay," but then this morning I listened to this album again. I'm like, what was wrong with me? Why is it so low? So I had to boost it back up. So yeah, this is a good song. Again, another great standout by Danny. Really like the drumming on here. Again, we already talked about the guitar. It's very bluesy, but again, it's the good type of blues rock that keeps my interest. So yeah, this was a really good song.
Cool. Okay, so side two opens up with Although the Sun is Shining. I said, what a haunting way to start off the second side of the record. So far, not a second wasted on this monumental album. Pretty crazy to say that. Well, I still think after listening to the full thing again for the 10th time, I still think there's not a single second wasted on this. Even though there are songs even though there are bottom songs, but yeah, love this song.
Yeah, very nice. Again, very, very, yeah, and like you said, definitely very interesting way to open the side. It's kind of more laid back. Yeah, the vocal harmony on here was actually pretty nice as well. Again, adding to the atmosphere. I didn't have a whole lot to say, but I like it. Not one of my favorites personally, but it's pretty good. And yeah, I will say there's really no song on here that I didn't like, so that's good.
This is one of my favorites.
Mhm.
I love this song. The chord progression is so interesting. It's like Nick said, haunting. Like it's very, as musicians would say, it's chromatic. Like it's kind of going chromatically through pitches. Like the chord progressions they're choosing are kind of just ascending and descending chromatically, and I think that's really kind of interesting. Like whenever I first heard that chord progression come in, I'm like, wow, like I don't really hear this a lot. Like it's really interesting that they would have chose that, and also the very haunting melody that goes over it. It's just the only way I can say it is just, it's very surprising. Like it's not what you would expect. The song just goes places that you wouldn't expect.
Yeah, I feel like playing it. Yeah, yeah, that's good. Next song on the album, Rattlesnake. I think this is a good blues song. Definitely the most straight up of the blues songs that they did on this album. Not that it's bad or anything. I mean, the guitar playing's amazing. Vocals are great by Peter Green. I mean, I take this over Stop Messing Around any day. Which, if you watch the last video, that was my favorite off of Mr. Wonderful. But yeah, this is it's a great playing and all that. Probably towards the middle of the road, but not that it's bad. It's really good.
Mhm. Yeah. Where did I put it? Oh, okay. Yeah. This is another pretty good song. I really enjoy this one. Not quite top 5, but somewhere close to it. Um, this was actually released as a single for the album. It didn't chart especially in the US. It didn't chart, period. But yeah, it's another pretty cool, very heavy blues song. Again, the guitar on here, very very more heavier sounding than on this album. But overall, like Nick said, more straightforward. I can kind of see why they released that single. It's kind of more similar to what they did previously, but again, not a bad thing. This song grew on me the more I heard it. I like the rattlesnake sound effect they included, so it matches the song. But yeah, I enjoyed this one. Again, not top 5, but it's enjoyable.
Yeah, well, I will say though is that Rattleshake, even though that didn't chart, there was a particular single that wasn't originally on this album that did chart that
Oh
we
yeah,
will.
we'll get to that later.
Man, I don't get it. I love Rattlesnake Shake. Like I totally see why they picked this as the first single off the album. It's got great guitar in it. It's really groovy, and I love the rattlesnake like maracas sound in it. But my favorite part is whenever he says, "I know a guy whose name is Mick. He ain't well, something like he don't care if he got no chick." It's like, is that a dig at Mick Fleetwood or something? I just thought that was kind of funny. But this is one of my favorites on the album.
How dare you make fun of you like that, Mister Fleetwood? Uh, okay. Next song on the album, Without You. I said it was a very mellow song, probably my least favorite off the whole album. Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, this is my least favorite off the whole album. But the guitar playing is just so gosh darn good. That's what I said. But yeah, it's my least favorite off the album. This and the other song I was talking about before, those two songs could go either way. But still, there's still a lot of great qualities to the song. But yeah, it's my least favorite. There has to be one bottom song, and it
Mhm.
just
Yeah,
happens to be it.
yeah, I can see it. I can see why. Um, yeah, this is another Danny song. Yeah, I had it more middle of the road. Mainly because again, the guitar playing is really spectacular on here. Very smooth playing. Again, still keeping the blues, but again, keeping it very interesting. And what helps is that it's used as a device to really add to the whole atmosphere. It's just a song you just vibe to. Nothing. You just kind of just chill. You just kind of relax to it while it's going on. You just kind of sit back with your eyes closed. That type of song. It grew on me the more I heard it, but again, it's kind of somewhere in the middle. But still, I liked it. I enjoyed it. One, it's pleasant.
It's all right. Honestly, I don't really remember much about it. It's one of the ones I don't really remember a lot about. Just honestly speaking.
I feel like we're gonna have completely different top 5s.
Yeah, Well, the original U.S. track listing, this was one of the songs that they got rid of. This was on the English Rose album,
Hmm.
Without You, and yeah, I wasn't upset at all that this wasn't on the U.S. album. Not gonna lie. Okay, searching for Madge. So before we were fighting for Madge, now we're searching for it. Uh, I had very little to say surprisingly. Well, first I gotta say, listen to it. Just listen to the gosh darn song. Listen to the album. But all I had to
I know
say for it was
I got the reference.
all I gotta say about it is epic 7 minute instrumental.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I think this is probably my favorite of all the instrumentals on here. I mean, all the instrumentals were pretty solid, but this is probably my favorite. Just a continuation of fighting for Madge. It just jumps straight into it, doesn't waste any time. Yeah, it's just this keeps this fast tempo, very hard rock for the most part. And the guitars go even are more intense here. And even John McVie, at some point, John McVie gets it kind of slows down, and John gets to kind of shine a bit more on bass. But what really shocked me was that at some point it suddenly changes, and then all of a sudden this orchestra comes in. And when I first heard it, I'm like, I had to check to see if I didn't have another tab open to make sure nothing came on. But no, this was part of the song. And like, wow, okay, I like that. I like what they did there, and it's very beautiful sound. Again, I like the orchestra. I'm a sucker for that type of stuff. So nice to have that. And then it goes back into the hard rock section, and then it eventually closes out. So yeah, very cool. I really enjoy this one. Like I said, probably my favorite of the instrumentals here.
So the track listing on my record actually has "Searching for Madge" and then "Fighting for Madge," if you can picture that.
Hmm.
And it kind of fades in between the two, but it's got them backwards because fighting comes first on the UK one, but then it's second on my record here, which is
Hmm.
interesting. But I don't know. I like hearing this one first and then hearing because searching is a lot, or sorry, fighting is a lot shorter. But man, I love this. I love this instrumental. Like I was just the whole time just like
Yes,
so
exactly.
like
Yeah,
my
yeah.
headphones on my system down here because my roommate was working up there and I was just like jamming to it and then it like cuts out and you can hear like the band members like talking in the studio and laughing and I'm like okay doing a little Beatles there or a Brian Wilson and then it like cuts out and the orchestra comes in and I was like is this the next song?
Yeah.
No, it's the same song. And then it just all of a sudden, it just the orchestra cuts out and then just right back into it. And I'm like, whoa. And apparently Peter Green was the one who edited the Madge songs. There was apparently like several hours of studio jamming that he sorted through, and he picked kind of the best parts to put on the album in these songs. So I think it's really cool. I really like this and really like this instrumental.
I like to see Jeremy Spencer do this.
Like he gets his own solo.
Yeah, I guess here I
Like
can hear that.
replace the orchestra and just do the whole "Just My Broom" riff again.
I can hear like the beat.
That's funny. Next track on the album, "My Dream." I said it was another killer instrumental on the album. I said probably the best out of all the instrumentals in the album. Yeah, I think it's such a great, relaxing song after searching for Madge. I see where you're coming from, Garrett, where you said having fighting for Madge after it. I will say I do like both track listings. I like for both different reasons. But if I had to pick, I'd say My Dream comes beautiful. Such a beautiful instrumental after searching for Madge. But yeah, that's what I gotta say about My Dream.
All right. Yeah. I don't have a whole lot to say. Again, like it is a nice little kind of calmer piece after the last one. Sounds very good. I like the guitar melodies throughout this one. Um, yeah, that's about it. I liked it.
Another pretty good instrumental, but like listening to all of the tracks made me realize that If you're listening to the UK version, there's way too many instrumentals.
Yeah, I will say that.
And I'll give the track listing on my record at the end of the video so that you can hear what I heard when I heard. Because when I listened to this, and then I listened to all the songs that weren't on that afterward.
That's fair. Well, next song on the album, Like Crying. It's another fantastic song on the album. Can't get enough of the guitar playing on this album, and the vocals are also amazing.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, very nice. Again, another kind of chill song. You have kind of Danny and Peter kind of sharing lead vocals, and I think their voices go really well together. I think they have a nice quality to both of their voices. Yeah, again, very pleasant guitar playing for this one. Yeah, I didn't have a whole lot to say for this one in particular, but again, not bad. Another very enjoyable song.
I like this song. I like how Danny and Peter are kind of singing at the same time. And again, I'm going to plug the track listing on my one because I really like how on the track listing on my record, you have Fighting for Madge, and then Peter Green, as it's fading out, Peter Green just starts laughing, and then this slower, like this, the contrast. I don't know, because we still got Peter Green laughing on the UK one, but it's in between My Dream and this, and that seems a lot more awkward when you got the slow My Dream, and then Peter Green just laughs out of nowhere, and then this starts up. It's like the laugh kind of goes more with the frantic Madge, which is like easing the tension and then going into the slow. I don't know. That might sound really weird, but that's just how I think about it.
That's fair. That's fair. Cool. Last song on the album, Before the Beginning. So what a fantastic way to close the album. Such a haunting way to end the album. Such a shame this is their peak because I would have loved to have two or three more than play Hunts. But I guess it wasn't meant to be. On the bright side, we got the wonderful Welch, the amazing Welch albums.
Right. Yeah, I think this was a pretty good album closer. I do like the effect they put on Peter's vocals. I think again added to the whole atmosphere. Again, the drumming on here very interesting rhythm. The guitars really stand out here, and some more time for John McVie to kind of stand out a bit on his bass playing. Really good bass line on this track. But yeah, good way to close the album out. Really enjoyed it.
I really enjoy this as well. This is absolutely amazing. It's another kind of haunting song and a very good swan song for Peter Green. Good way to go out.
Yeah. Well, we're almost reaching the end. We have two more songs to talk about. These are bonus tracks. These are the singles that came out. First one being Oh Well. Man, this is, I don't have much to say, but this is the best song of this era. This is Let It Take You to Another World. That's how great this song is. But yeah, Oh Well. Man. Definitely the best of the Peter Green era.
Yep, can't argue with that. This was their first big hit. This went to number 2 in the UK. It even charted in the US. It got to 55, but still it was better than Rattlesnake Shake. But this most people cite this as their first masterpiece, and that for good reason. I mean, part 1, you have this pretty awesome upbeat track with great guitar playing throughout. And then it gets heavier as it progresses. It kind of where it switches up. But I really enjoy when it switches up to the more where it gets more atmospheric. Again, going back to that more haunting aspect of throughout this whole album. Really great flute playing as well, which was actually done by Peter's girlfriend at the time. They brought her in to play some flute, and they sound very nice. And then part 2 just continues. It's just this longer instrumental piece. Again, carrying the haunting atmosphere going. They're including a lot more classical influences here, great recorders. And even you hear some cello, which was also done by Peter himself. Peter actually knew a little bit of cello. And actually you can hear some piano on here, and that was Jeremy Spencer's only contribution to this period, just playing piano on Oh Well. and that's probably the best thing he's ever done this so far, based on these three. But yeah, it's fantastic. It deserves its reputation.
Absolute masterpiece of a song. One of my favorite Fleetwood Mac albums, period. Also, definitely my favorite of the Peter Green era. I love the guitar. I think it's Peter Green on the acoustic guitar at the beginning, and then Danny Kerwin comes in later, and there's all these overdub parts. I don't know how many like guitar parts are on there, but there's a lot of them. There's like a lower part and a higher part. I think it's Danny Kerwin who's actually doing the soloing in the little middle section there. So I think that's cool that he gets a chance to get to show off his guitar playing. And I love the riff. It's so catchy. The first time I heard that, I'm like, this is going to be a great song. As soon as it came in, and then like the and then Mick Fleetwood comes in on the cowbell.
Right. Yes.
And it cuts out, and it's just Peter Green singing. And I love that. Everything just cuts out. It's just him singing with a little bit of echo on his voice. And, oh my goodness, that's got to be one of the best lines ever written. Don't ask me what I think of you. I might not give the answer that you want me to. When I first heard that, I'm like, that's good. That's good writing right there. And then it's just like, oh, well. And it just comes in. And then, like, all the crazy guitar playing. And then it cuts that in with the cowbell, and he sings again, and then there's more jamming, but then like they pull a 180 and we get OL part 2 where like it's just like acoustic, just like slow acoustic guitar playing from Peter Green, and you get like some bass in there, boom, boom, dun, 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 and the flute comes in, and like Bryer said, apparently Peter Green also played the cello on this song too, but I think it's really interesting that you got that hard pounding part 1 and then the really slow, like more classically inspired part 2. Definitely the best song of Peter Green's era, and the best song that we've covered up to this point.
Yeah, I mean the vocal part, the Peter Green, nobody else, just him singing part was so good that Zeppelin decided to take it for Black Dog. So take that as you will. But to me, I don't think it's nearly as I don't think Black Dog's nearly as good as this song. Okay, the Green Monolishi with the 2-pronged crown. I say this is a great song, another great song from this period of the band. A lot of great experimentation going on here, which it's probably their most experimental song I've heard from them. It's a shame this wasn't on the album. Would have been on either of the albums, not even on the US version.
Yeah, so I actually got something to admit. I actually did know this song before going into this, but the first time I heard it, it was not the Fleetwood Mac version. Actually, this was actually the first time I heard the Fleetwood Mac version. The only reason I knew this song was because it was actually covered by Judas Priest. Judas Priest did a cover of this in '78, and that was the only version I knew. It wasn't until like I think a couple years later I realized, oh, that was a cover, and it was Fleetwood Mac. And I'm like, oh, I never heard that Fleetwood Mac song. But again, I didn't really go and listen to it until recently. And yeah, it was very, very nice to hear the original. I think it's very cool. While the Judas Priest one is definitely a more heavy metal approach to it, the original is definitely more on the blues side of things. But still, I can see why Judas Priest covered it, because even this song has some heavy. It's pretty heavy, really big drum sound, and the guitars are definitely a lot heavier sound to it as well. Really, really big bass playing on here. So yeah, I can see why they covered it. See, and apparently this was one of the last songs Peter wrote while still in the band. One of the last ones he did, and I heard conflicting information on what the song means. Apparently, from what I've heard, Peter was high on LSD, so he just wrote this. Apparently, it's supposed to like be about money and how it's kind of it can kind of ruin lives or something like that. Something like that. Didn't quite. Wish I kind of spent more time on that. But yeah, this actually did also really well in the UK. Got to number 10 for good reasons. So yeah, very cool.
Oh, that's interesting. I kind of interpreted the lyrics a bit differently. I thought that it was about drug addiction. That the green
Yeah,
man Alicia
probably.
wrong
I mean, he was
crown,
on LSD, so maybe that was it.
the green man Alicia is LSD, and that it's making him do things and see things he doesn't want to see.
Yeah, because I've read Peter Green because I've read Peter did interviews and he was adamant it was about money and that was it.
Yeah, back in the '60s, though, if you
Yeah.
admitted it, you would probably get banned on the radio. So that's
Probably. Yeah, probably.
Also, wasn't there a scene in the Beatles Get Back documentary where John Lennon is talking about Fleetwood Mac? And
Yeah.
he's like, "Wait, we're so rich, we got all this wealth, but we can't even make a single as good as Green Man Alicia."
Yeah, there you go.
I really like the heavy sound of this, and like if John Lennon likes your song, you've made it. Because John Lennon didn't even like some of the stuff he wrote himself. So if he likes your song, you've done well.
Him and Pete Townsend in the '60s, like they were very hard to please. Like same with
Especially
Townsend.
Pete.
Like he like we watched the video of Pete Townsend just totally crapping on their first album, My Generation. So yeah, Pete Townsend say he didn't say he liked it, but him and John Lennon are both really hard to please. So if you're able to please one of those people, you've made it. You're doing good.
Apparently, I was doing some research. Whenever I looked up what John Lennon thought of Fleetwood Mac, it also said apparently that John Lennon was a big fan of "Selling England by the Pound" by Genesis.
Oh wow, okay, that's cool.
That's a great album. I don't blame him. Okay, top 5 songs. Honorable mention if you like, and a dishonorable song if you like. I don't have any dishonorables, and yeah, I guess I'll go first since I've been going first the entire album review. My number 5, Closing My Eyes. Number 4, My Dream, the instrumental. Number 3, One Sunny Day. Number 2, Coming Your Way. Number 1, Showbiz Blues. And for the honorable mention, Searching for Madge. And if we're going to include the 2 singles, my number 5 will be the Green Monalishi with the 2-prong crown. Number 4 would be One Sunny Day. Number 3 would be Coming Your Way. Number 2 would be Showbiz Blues. And number 1, Oh Well. And
All right.
Oh Well.
Yes, very good. So I'll go next. So without these singles, number 5 would be Before the Beginning. Number 4, One Sunny Day. Number 3, Coming Your Way. Number 2, Showbiz Kids. And number 1, Closing My Eyes. And if we were to include the singles, number 5, Green Man Alicia. Number 4, Coming Your Way. 3, Showbiz Kids. 2, Closing My Eyes. And number 1, Oh Well.
It's Showbiz Blues, by the way.
Oh, sorry.
Showbiz
What
Kids
did I say?
is
What did I say? What did I say?
Kids.
Oh, that's something
Steely
completely
Dan.
different. I think it's another song from another band.
Steely Dan.
Steely Dan. There we go. God dang.
Absolutely garbage song by Steely Dan.
So I'm gonna go with, if we include the singles first, I'm gonna go number 5, Green Man Alicia. 4, Closing My Eyes. 3, Although the Sun is Shining. Oh wait, man, I wrote it down and I can't even get it right. 5, Green Man Alicia. 4, Before the Beginning. 3, Coming Your Way. 2, Closing My Eyes. And number 1 would have been Searching for Madge, the instrumental. Oh, wait.
Nice.
Wait. No, this is with, oh, well. I wrote it down and I can't even read it right. Number 1 would have been Oh Well. Number 2 would have been Searching for Madge, the instrumental. Number 3 would have been Although the Sun is Shining. 4 would have been Closing My Eyes. And 5 would have been Coming Your Way. Green Man Alicia. Without the singles, it would be number 1, Searching for Madge. Number 2, Although the Sun is Shining. Number 3, Closing My Eyes. Number 4, Coming Your Way. And number 5, Before the Beginning.
I'm glad we all included Green Man Alicia. That makes me happy.
Yeah.
And I think we all said it was number 5 too, right?
Yeah, we all had the same number 5 and the same number 1.
Yeah, that's cool. That makes me happy. And for the album rating, I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10. Not a single second wasted. I go back to this album a lot, and just a lot of uniqueness on this album. Yeah, I give it a 10 out of 10.
Mm, yeah, yeah, I can see why. For me personally, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. Again, very enjoyable album. Very, very nice to kind of deep dive this album. I definitely see why people see why this is a big standout in their catalog, especially for this period. Um, this is one of those albums where I can see myself like I need to like I just want to if there's a certain mood where I need to hear this, then that's the perfect time. I'm not sure how often that would be, but when that mood comes, I'll enjoy myself. So I'm giving it an 8 out of 10.
So I'm gonna have to give it two different ratings. One, if we're talking about the full 14-track UK track listing, and one if we're talking about the whatever track US listing, which I'm going to go ahead and read off what it is. It's 11 tracks on the US listing, but it's Coming Your Way, or sorry, side 1 is Coming Your Way, Closing My Eyes, Showbiz Blues, Underway, and Oh Well, parts 1 and 2. And then side 2 is Although the Sun is Shining, Rattlesnake Shake, Searching for Madge, Fighting for Madge, not like fighting, like Crying, and Before the Beginning. So if we are going with the UK 14-track listing, then I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10 because I really like the songs, but it really needs that one song to make it jump out. And that song is Oh Well, which if I'm including the Oh Well version, I'll give it a 9 out of 10.
Oh, so it's like the Bee Gees review we just did. 110, 19, 18, except the 8 and the 9 were swapped this time. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. That's yeah. It's kind of funny.
And again, I put into my I put in my ranking. I factor in how much would I listen to this album, and I'm going to have to start throwing this into my rotation more often because I really like this.
The reason why I gave it a 10 out of 10 was because it's been on heavy rotation for me for a while in terms of Fleetwood Mac albums. So if I wasn't listening to this a lot and it's not an album that I search out for, I would have given it a 9.5 out of 10 and wouldn't be my favorite. But man, this is definitely the most. This and Future Games and Tusker, the three I listen to the most. Hence why they're my three favorites. But yeah, anything you guys want to add before the video ends?
Once again, I wish we could have gotten at least one more album with this particular lineup here because I wish I could hear more Fleetwood Mac like this. Unfortunately, it's the first and the last album we're going to hear like this, but for what it is, it's amazing, and I'm glad that we at least got this album instead of having Peter depart before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely a great way to close.
Also, I'm excited to talk about Future Games. I mean, I know we got one album before that, but I'm excited to talk about that one.
Yeah.
It's Bob Welch.
yeah. This is technically the last of the Peter Green era, but I call this the Peter Green bluesy era. So technically, we got one more album to go. That's Killing House. This is this is the last album with Peter Green, but Jeremy Spencer one more time get to talk about that. First album with Christian. Well, not the first, but Christian McVie is a tiny bit more prominent on this next album. I mean, she does the album art.
She sings.
And yep. Well, technically, she's not a full-on member yet. We don't get that until Future Games. But we will be getting a little bit of her more next album, which I know Bryer will appreciate that. And yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. Thank you so much. So long.